Hello everyone, myself Dr. Anindya Sundar Das. I am working as Assistant Professor in Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering in Swami Vivekananda Institute of Science and Technology. This is my ninth lecture on network theory, and in last 8 lectures I have discussed the basic laws, that is KCL, KVL, Ohm's law, current division rule, voltage division rule, and about the network theorems, Thevenin, Norton, maximum power transfer theorem, then superposition theorem, and some other network theorem also, like commutative theorem, reciprocity theorem, Millman's theorem, intelligence theorem, and substitution theorem. Now, today I am going to discuss about the basics of inductors and capacitors. So far, our circuit analysis pursuit has been limited to resistive circuit. Now, most of the practical applications of resistive circuits only are quite limited. Now, other important passive linear circuit elements of any circuits are the capacitor and inductors, which, unlike resistors, do not dissipate energy. Introduction of capacitors and inductors will enable us to analyze more important and practical electrical circuits. Now, capacitors and inductors are called energy storage elements as they store energy which can be retrieved at later stage. Now, resistor, as you know, this is a passive element which dissipates energy only. Now, two other passive linear circuit elements are capacitor and inductor, but capacitor and inductor can store energy only, and they can neither generate or nor dissipate energy. Now, capacitors, a capacitor is a passive element designed to store energy in its electric field, and it does so by accumulating charges. Now, besides resistors, capacitors are the most common electrical components that are used extensively in electronics, communication, computers, and power systems. A typical capacitor is made of conducting plate. This is one plate and this is another plate. So two conducting plate insulated by dielectric or insulator. Okay. So this is a conducting plates, and this is another conducting plate. In between there is a dielectric material or some insulator. Now the conducting plates are usually made of aluminum foil, while the dielectric may be air, ceramic, paper, mica, etc. Now consider a voltage connected to the capacitor. No current will flow in between two plates. Now, source connected across a capacitor deposit positive charge and negative charge on the conducting plates. The capacitor stores energy by accumulating this electric charge on the conducting plate. The amount of charge stored is directly proportional to the applied voltage, that is Q equal to C into V, where C is the constant of proportionality, is known as capacitance of the capacitor, which is measured in farad. So the unit of capacitance is farad, and here you can find that C equal to Q by V. So 1 farad equal to 1 coulomb per voltage or per volt. Now capacitance is the ratio of the charge on one plate of a capacitor to the voltage difference between the two plates, that is C equal to Q by V. Although the capacitance of a capacitor is the ratio of charge per plate to the applied voltage, it does not depend on Q or V. That is the point you have to remember. Now capacitance depends on physical dimensions of the capacitor. For example, for parallel plate capacitor, this is the figure where C is epsilon A by D. Now epsilon, this formula C equal to epsilon A by D, this is applicable with air as dielectric, where this epsilon is the absolute permittivity of the air. Now capacitor is a solid, that can be described as C equal to Q by V equal to epsilon 0 epsilon R A by D. Now this is your absolute permittivity of vacuum, and this is the relative permittivity of the medium. Now A is the area of the conducting plate, D is the distance between the conducting plate. Now the factors affecting the value of capacitance is nothing but the area of the conducting plate. If area is greater, then capacitance value will be higher. If the spacing between the conducting plate is reduced, okay, smaller the spacing, the greater is the capacitance. The material permittivity, the higher the permittivity, the greater is the capacitance value. Now capacitors are commonly available commercially in different values and types. They are described by dielectric material they are made of, and by whether they are of fixed or variable type. Now this is the symbol of capacitor, which is a fixed capacitor, and this is a symbol of a variable capacitor. This arrow indicates this is a variable capacitor. Now a capacitor is charging if both voltage and current are positive or negative. Conversely, if there is a current or voltage is negative, then capacitor is being discharged. So capacitor will charge one time with positive current, and when it is negative, it is discharging. Okay. So these are the some various type of capacitors: electrolytic capacitors, ceramic capacitors, carbon steel capacitors, tantalum capacitors. Okay, that is used in electronics, and there are many more type of capacitors that is used in power systems. Those are very big sizes. And there are any other capacitors also: PCB mounted capacitor, wide ended electrolytic capacitor, then solid chip tantalum capacitor, then 3 terminal capacitor, okay, memory backup capacitor. There are lots of capacitor that is available in market. Now as we know, capacitor Q is nothing but CV. Now already we know current is nothing but dq by dt. Now if we differentiate this equation Q equal to CV with respect to t, then what we will get: dq dt equal to C into dv dt, right? Now C is constant, so and dq dt is I, so what we can write: I equal to dq dt, which is equal to C into dv dt. So I equal to what? Nothing but C into dv dt. This current voltage relationship is illustrated in this figure. If we plot I versus dv dt, the slope is nothing but the value of C, which is passing through the origin. So it is a linear device. Okay. Now capacitor that satisfy as shown characteristics are said to be linear. If it stores initial charge, that means it will start from some point above the origin, then it is linear, then it becomes a non-linear. Now for non-linear capacitor, the plot of the current voltage ratio is not a straight line. Not a straight line, that means not a straight line that starts from origin. It will start from some other point. So the capacitor with initial stored charge is a non-linear device. Now according to the current equation of capacitor, I equal to C dv dt. Now when V is a constant voltage, V is constant voltage, then I equal to 0. Right? A constant voltage across the capacitor creates no current through the capacitor, because if voltage is 0 dv dt, that will be 0. The capacitor in this case is the same as the open circuit. No current is flowing, so it is open circuit. If voltage is abruptly changed, then the current will have an infinite value. Okay, that is practically impossible. Hence, a capacitor is impossible to have an abrupt change in its voltage, except an infinite current is applied. That is the point you have to remember. So, what we can assume from these statements, that is, the capacitor is an open circuit to DC when voltage is constant. But for AC, it will give some amount of current. Well, it will provide some amount of current. But for DC, voltage is constant, so I equal to 0. That means it is acting as an open circuit. Okay, and another point you have to remember: the voltage on a capacitor cannot change abruptly. Okay. Now, from this current equation, I equal to C dv dt, we can find out V. That means what? That is 1 by C IDT. If you integrate both, then what we will get? Vt equal to 1 by c integration of IDT. Now here it is varying from minus infinity to t. If we then we can assume v infinity minus infinity equal to 0. That means there is no initial charge stored. That is the point. Okay. So now if there is initial charge stored, then Vt equation will be what? Vt equal to 1 by c integration of t0 to t IDT plus Vt0. But Vt0 is nothing but Qt0 divided by c. That is, it is the initial charge is stored. Okay. So where Vt0 is the voltage across the capacitor at time t0. That is the initial charge stored. Because of that, there is a voltage. So this is the equation with initial charge stored. This is when initial charge is 0. So above equation shows that capacitor voltage depends on the past history of the capacitor current. That is, the capacitor has a memory. That means it can store. The model of practical capacitor. Now in case of practical, real and non-real capacitor has a parallel model leakage resistance. So it has capacitance and a leakage resistance value. And this value is very high, almost 100 mega ohm range for most application. That is why we will assume ideal capacitor in this course. We are not considering this leakage resistance. Okay. So let us see some problem. So calculate the charge stored on 3 picofarad capacitor with 10 volt across it and find the energy stored in the capacitor. Now solution is Q equal to Cv. Okay. So we know what is the charge stored, that is capacitor value, 3 picofarad capacitor value, that is C. V is 20 volt, and here picofarad means 10 to the power minus 12. 3 into 10 to the power minus 12 into 20, so 60 picocoulomb. And the energy stored in capacitor, the formula is W equal to half CV square. Okay, that you have to remember. W equal to half CV square. Now we can calculate by putting C and V value. We can get the energy stored in the capacitor. Now say the voltage across 5 microfarad capacitor is Vt equal to this. This is an AC source. Okay. Calculate the current through it. Now I equal to, so we have to calculate I. I equal to nothing but C dVdt through a capacitor. So C value you know 5 microfarad. Microfarad means 5 into 10 to the minus 6, converting into farad. Then we have to find dVdt. So we have to differentiate this Vt equation with respect to t. Then we will get the value of current. Say another one here, 2 microfarad capacitor, current is given, we have to find out voltage. That means what? We can find out the charge stored. Okay, we can find out energy of a capacitor, we can find out current through capacitor. Now we can find out voltage across capacitor also. Now voltage equals to 1 by C 0 to 2 IDT plus V0. Now here initial start voltage is 0, initial capacitor voltage is 0, so V0 is 0. Then we can calculate 2 microfarad, so 2 into 10 to the power minus 6. Then we have to integrate this IT with respect to t from 0 to t. Then we will get this particular expression. Okay. Now say another type of problem. Here we have a graph. Okay, and capacitor value is 200 microfarad. So what you have to do is we have to find out the current. Okay, determine the current through 200 microfarad capacitor whose voltage is shown. Now as I equal to C dVdt and C equal to 200 microfarad, taking derivative of V in each region, what you will get? I equal to C dVdt. I equal to C dVdt. Now here dVdt, the differentiation is nothing but the slope of the curve, right? So what you can write? 200 microfarad is this much, 0.0002, and dVdt. Now here V is difference is 50. This between these 2 points difference is 50 minus 0 divided by 1 minus 0, so that will be 10 amps. Now for this current, what will happen? Here this is minus 50 minus 50 again, so that will be minus 100 by 1. This is 3 minus 1, so it is 2, so we will have minus 10 ampere. Now for this case, now this is 0 minus of 50 become 50 by 4 minus 3 1. That is, we're finding the linear straight line equation through by straight line equation. So now what we can have that from 0 to 1 we have 10 ampere current, and from 1 to 3 minus 10 ampere, and again 3 to 4 10 ampere. So this is the waveform of the current. Now say with a DC source, what will happen under DC condition? Now under DC condition, what happens? That this capacitor will act as open circuited. So these two capacitor is open circuited. Then say you have to find out voltage drop across V1 and V2. Then V1 will be what? Voltage across 2 kilo ohm resistor, voltage drop across this. And so for that, what we can do? We can find out the current that is flowing through 2K and 4K ohm resistor. Now here you can see that through 5K ohm kilo ohm there is no current flowing because there is a open circuited. Okay. Then I is dividing in these two parts. Okay, where these 2K and 4K resistances are in series. So we can apply current division rule, that is 6 into other one's resistance 3 plus total, that is 3 plus 2 plus 4. So we will get 2 milliampere current that is flowing through these two resistances. Then what is the V1? V1 is 2 kilo ohm into the current flowing, that is 4 volt, and here this is nothing but V2 is nothing but voltage drop across this 4 kilo ohm, because these two part in parallel connection and these two part in parallel. So we can find out V2 equal to 8 volt. Now we can find out energy stored, that is W1 equal to half CV square. So if you know the value of V1, so we can find out the energy stored in capacitor W1 and W2. Now say what will happen if capacitors are connected in series and parallel. If say capacitors are connected in parallel, then what we can have, this I current is basically divided in n times. So we can find out I and one equivalent capacitance value, which are the capacitance is parallel. Then what will be the equation of C equivalent? The current is here divided, so I equal to I1 plus I2 plus I3 up to IN. Okay, that current division, voltage drop will be same. So I equal to what we can write, C1 D1 dB dt. Now across all the capacitor the voltage is same because it is in parallel. Okay, so C1 dB dt plus C2 dB dt, like that we can write. That means what, dB dt is a common factor and we have summation of C from 1 to n. So this part we can write as C equivalent. So C equivalent is what, nothing but addition of all the capacitance. That means what, the equivalent capacitance of n parallel connected capacitor is the sum of the individual capacitance. Okay. Note that capacitors in parallel combine in the same manner as resistors in series. So that is just opposite. Resistance and parallel, the equivalent resistance is opposite. That means in parallel, for resistance, that is add up, for we have to find out 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2, that will be equal to 1 by R equivalent. But in case of capacitor, that is if it is parallel connected, then that value will be addition of capacitance. Now if it is connected in series, now in series same current will flow and voltage drop will be V1, V2, V3, Vn, and we can find out the C equivalent. For that what we have to do is, here Vt applied voltage is summation of this according to the KVL. So Vt equal to V1 plus V2 up to Vn. Now what is the value of Vt? V is nothing but 1 by C integration of I dt, okay, or I d tau. So for that what you will get ultimately, that is integration of I dt or d tau, that is equal to nothing but Q, right? So by putting this Q for every value of integration of I dt, now so what then we can take Qt as a common factor. So what we will get, 1 by Cq equal to 1 by C1 plus 1 by C2 plus 1 by Cc, like that way. If it is two capacitors are there, so it will be C1 C2 divided by C1 plus C2. That means what, the equivalent capacitance of series connected capacitor is the reciprocal of the sum of the reciprocals of the individual capacitance. Conversely, capacitors in series are added as resistors in parallel. So for resistors and capacitor, that is just opposite. Okay, you have to remember that. Now say you have to find out the equivalent capacitance of any circuit. Now looking into from this AB point, what you can observe that 20 and 5, these are connected in series. Now, these two connected in series, that means what is the equivalent resistance? That is C1 into C2 divided by C1 plus C2. You got the value. Now this is the 4 microfarad, that is parallel with 6, parallel with 20. So what we can have, parallel means addition. So we will get addition of that. Okay. Then what we can see, that that particular capacitance, that is in series with 60 microfarad capacitor. So the 30 microfarad is in series with 60. So how we can find out? As it is series, you have to write C1 into C2 divided by C1 plus C2. So that will be the equivalent capacitance value. Say for this kind of circuit, this is a circuit DC voltage. So for to find out the equivalent capacitance, 40 and 20 in have the same voltage across, and combining them, those are parallel, so we have to add, so 60 millifarad, and these three in series, so we have to take out the parallel combination. That means C1 into C2 divided by C1 plus C2, that is equal to C3, then C3 into C2 60 millifarad divided by C2 plus C3. If you do that, we will get 10 millifarad. Then what is the charge? That Q equal to CV. So C equivalent into V, we will get the value of charge. So from that circuit, we can find out the voltage across each capacitor. That is V equal to QC1. Now what happened? Yes, Q, we got the value of Q, total charge. Okay, that is constant. C1 is different, C1, C2, and we can put the value of C, and we can get the value of V. V equal to Q by C1. V equal to Q by C as Q equal to CV. Now we can check the answer by using KVL, that is V3 equals to 30 volt minus these two voltage. So that gives 5 volt. So it matches our result. Now let us move to inductor. The inductor is a passive element designed to in its magnetic field, store energy in its magnetic field, and has numerous applications in electronic and power systems. Any conductor carrying electric current has inductive property and may be regarded as an inductor. To enhance the inductive effect, a practical conductor is usually formed into a cylindrical coil with many turns. Okay, so the one conductor, there is a core material, and it is there is multiple turns of conducting wire. Okay, so what we will have, cross sectional area of the core material, then number of turns of conducting wire, and length of the wire. So inductor, the relation between flux in inductor and the current, that is phi equal to nothing but Li. That is the inductor of value L. If current is flowing through that, then magnetic flux that is generated, phi, that is nothing but L into I. Okay. So an inductor is passive element designed to store energy in the magnetic field, while a capacitor stores energy in the electric field. That point you have to remember. Now an inductor consists of a coil of conducting wire. If phi equal to L dit, then voltage developed across the inductor, that is the d phi of dt. Okay, that is the rate of change of flux across the inductor. Okay, so according to, if phi equal to Li, then what we can write, L equal to di dt. So here V equal to L di dt, and if we plot that V versus di dt, we will get L as a slope. Okay. Now when the current through an inductor is a constant, then what will happen? The voltage across inductor is 0, same as short circuit, as it is V equal to L di dt. For inductor, that is I equal to C dv dt. So in inductor, If voltage is constant, current is 0, so open circuited. And for inductor, if current is constant, then voltage is 0, that means it is short circuited. Now, no abrupt change of current through an inductor is possible except an infinite voltage is applied across the inductor. Now, inductor can be used to generate a high voltage. For example, use an igniting element. Now, inductor are like a short circuit to DC voltage, that means for a constant voltage, and current through inductor cannot change instantaneously or abruptly. Now, so for inductor, the condition is V equal to L di dt. Now, L is the inductance of the inductor measured in henries. Okay. Now, Henry is defined, or inductance is defined in terms of the amount of counter EMF produced when the current through an inductor changes per unit time. So, what we can write? The Henry or inductance develop 1 volt of counter EMF when current flowing through it changes at a rate of 1 ampere per second. Now, inductance value of an inductor also depends on the physical dimensions. Now, for physical dimensions, what we can see that from this one, what we will have number of turns, okay, some core material, and length and area of the core material. Okay, these 4 terms are there. So, according to that, the L value, the inductance value is nothing but N square mu A by L. That means where N is the number of turns, L is the length, A is the cross sectional area of the core material, and mu is the permeability of the core material. From the above equation, what we can say that inductance can be increased by increasing number of turns of the coil and the higher permeability value of the core material and increasing the cross section area, and it reduces if the length of the coil decreases. So that is for the inductors. Now, inductors can also available is the commercially available inductors come in different values and types. It can be variable inductor, it can be fixed inductor, and this is for iron core. This parallel line shows this is a iron core inductor, and if there is a variable, I mean there is the arrow mark, then it is variable inductor. Okay. The coil and choke are also used for inductors as per their application. You know, in tube light in previous days we have choke, not LED. The fluorescent tube light we use choke. That is an inductor basically. Okay. So now from this V equal to L di dt equation, what we can find out? We can find out the value of I also. So di equal to 1 by L V dt. Then if we integrate, we will get I equal to 1 by L minus into T Vt dt. Now, if we have initial charge stored, then this is the plus IT0, that is the current. So, current is nothing but current plus current value. Okay, and that is why the inductor has a memory. If it is stored, it can store initial value of current. Now, say for inductors, the power delivered will be what? Nothing but P equal to V into I, that is L di dt into I. Now, energy stored is W is nothing but integration of P dt from minus infinity to t. This is the boundary condition of the integration. Now, if you integrate L di dt into I dt, what you will get? L is the constant term, and then I di, so half Li square. Then t and minus infinity, for that is the two boundary condition. If there is no initial charge stored, then the energy stored in an inductor is half Li square. For capacitor, that is half LCV square. For inductor, half Li square. Now half is the common for both. For inductor, L value comes into picture. For capacitor, C value comes, and for inductor, I comes because that is from L equal to di dt. This I comes into picture, and for capacitor, that is V, because in capacitor the equation is C I equal to C dV dt. Okay, so that is how we can remember that. Okay. So model of practical inductors. The practical inductors are basically made of some resistance from that is non-ideal, has however a resistive component with that. Okay, depending on the material. So this is basically conducting wire. So conducting wire has some amount value of resistances also. And for a practical case, we have inductor in series with some resistance, and may have a capacitor value also, or winding capacitance due to capacitive coupling between the conducting coils. So winding capacitance appears in parallel to inductance and is so small that it can be ignored in most cases, except at high frequencies, where it short circuits the inductor. Okay, so this is the model of practical inductors. Now, say one problem. In that case, say current through zero point 0.1 Henry inductor is given. You have to find out voltage across inductor, energy stored. So current is given, voltage you have to find out. So V equal to L di dt. L is known, so you have to put the L value and I value, then differentiate the I value with respect to T. We will get the voltage value. Now if we know, then the stored energy is what? W equal to L half Li square. So we have to put the I value, I square half Li I square, that will be the energy stored in it. Now find the current through a 5 Henry inductor. If voltage across it Vt is given, you have to find out current. Now current is, we know that is 1 by L integration of Vt dt plus It0. Now here I0 is 0, so this term is 0. Energy stored from 0 to 5 seconds we have to find out. So first we have to find out I, then we can find out energy. Okay, so I is nothing but 1 by L value is given 5 Henry, Vt is given, then you have to integrate and we will get the value, okay, of I. Then power is nothing but P equal to Vi. Okay, so I is, we got the value of I, we know the V, then that will be 60 t to the power 5, and the energy stored is, then what is the value? Energy is integration of pdt, where you have to find out from 0 to 5 second. So the limit goes from 0 to 5 second. So we will have, if we integrate that and if we put the value 5 and 0, then you will get the value of energy across the inductor. Now, when you apply this for DC condition, and under DC condition, inductor acts as a short circuit, capacitor acts as an open circuit. So you have a capacitor and the inductor also. So capacitor acts as the open, inductor acts as a short. Now here I will be equal to what? Nothing but in this series circuit, because this circuit there is no, in this path current will be 0 because there is open circuited. This part is open circuited due to capacitor. So I equal to what? Nothing but 12 by total resistance 5 plus 1. So VC. So VC equal to what? Nothing but from this point to this point. This part is in parallel with this 4 ohm and capacitor. So voltage drop across this 5 ohm resistor, that is the voltage drop across VC. So VC equal to 5 into I, so 10 volt. So we can find out energy across the capacitor, WC half CV square, so we got the value, and WL is half Li square, and here the I is nothing but 2 amps, so we got the energy value. So using those formula we can find out all the values. Now say if series connected inductors, what is the value? Equivalent resistance value. Now for series connected, current is same, and we can apply KVL. So V equal to summation of all the voltage drop across the inductors. Now V equal to L di dt. So you can put this value. Then di dt is constant term because I is constant. So what we will get? Summation of L into di dt. So summation of L is nothing but L equivalent, which is equal to L1 plus L2 plus L3, like that way. That means this is similar as resistance. For resistance connected in series, that will simply add up. Similarly for inductor also, but that is that opposite of capacitor. Now for parallel connected, what happened? Here we have current divides. That means what we will get similar to the resistances, that is 1 by L equivalent equal to 1 by L1 plus 1 by L2, like that way. And L equivalent for two inductor connected in parallel, L1 L2 divided by L1 plus L2. So this is same as the resistances. For resistance, what is the series parallel combination? Same thing happens for inductor, but for capacitors that is opposite. That you have to remember. Okay. So let us just see the comparisons. So VI relation for resistor, it is V equal to IR, simple Ohm's law. Now for capacitor, V equal to what? 1 by C. Capacitor, the primitive equation is what? I equal to C dV dt. From that we can find out V. V equal to 1 by C integration of I dt plus initial voltage. Because this is the voltage here, so here it will be voltage, which is V equal to Q by C. Okay, as Q equal to CV. Now for inductor, the voltage is L di dt. Now for current in resistor, that is I equal to V by R, simple Ohm's law. For capacitor, I equal to C dV dt, and primitive equation, from the primitive equation of inductor, that is V equal to L di dt, we can find out I as 1 by L integration of V dt plus initial current value due to storing of energy. The power is I square R or V square R, P or W, and here we are calculating the energy, that is W, that is half CV square half Li square. Now when resistors are connected in series, equivalent resistance is R1 plus R2. For inductor, same L1 plus L2. But for capacitor, it is just like for parallel case, C1 into C2 divided by C1 plus C2. Now for parallel, R equivalent is R1 into R2 divided by R1 plus R2 for two resistances in parallel. Similarly, for inductor also, that is L1 into L2 divided by L1 plus L2. Now for capacitor in parallel, that is simply add up C1 plus C2 plus C3. And at DC condition, another point, for resistor that is same, there is no problem. But for capacitor at DC, capacitor acts as open circuited, and inductor at DC acts as short circuited. Okay. And circuit available that cannot change abruptly, separate parameter. For resistor not applicable, but for capacitor V voltage cannot change abruptly, because here voltage is derivative I equal to C dV dt, derivative of voltage, so it cannot change abruptly. For inductor, that is current value, that cannot change abruptly because that is V equal to L di dt. So here I is derivative, I is derivative, so that cannot change abruptly. So this is the basic points that you have to remember for RLC circuit. For R, what are the conditions that you have to remember? For capacitor, what are the conditions? And for inductor, what are the conditions? And this we have to apply in later stage. Okay, so this point you have to remember. Anyway, so this is it for today. Thank you so much.